The silence beneath the earth is unlike any silence on the surface. It is heavier, denser, ancient. Down there, sound doesn't travel. It sinks. Light doesn't illuminate. It suffocates. And on the night the excavation team descended into the lowest chamber of the abandoned underground city, the rocks seemed to breathe 0317 hours, a time when rational thought weakens and instinct takes control. Dust drifted through the stale air like ash falling in reverse. Flashlights sliced narrow tunnels carved by unknown hands. The stone was cold, too cold, as if it had not felt human warmth in centuries. The team's boots pressed into a floor of volcanic tuff, worn smooth by millions of steps, yet no footprints remained. The deeper they moved, the more oppressive the stillness became. No insects, no dripping water, not even the hum of wind brushing through distant chambers. Only the pulse of oxygen tanks, only their own breath rebounding off the cavern walls. At the end of the main corridor, a circular stone door, a perfect disc 3 meters wide, sat slightly open, not forced, not broken, shifted from the inside. The lead archaeologist paused. Someone whispered, "Why would they close themselves in?" Another replied, "Why did they never come back out?" What waited beyond that stone was not just an empty room, but the first clue to a disappearance older than most recorded civilizations. A city capable of sheltering 20,000 people had vanished without explanation, and for decades no one dared to ask the question buried at the core of this labyrinth. What drove an entire population underground, and what kept them there? Official reports label the site Derinkuyu. Unofficially, field historians call it something else: the Hollow District, the Depths, the Absent City. Even now, walking through its corridors feels less like archaeology and more like trespassing into a memory that isn't yours. The structure spirals downward for 18 levels, far beyond what ancient engineering should have allowed. Ventilation shafts stretch like veins, carrying air with unnatural precision. Water channels run pure, still functioning despite centuries of abandonment. Whoever built this place understood survival far better than we do. And yet, they didn't survive. Rooms show signs of life abruptly halted. Clay vessels set neatly on shelves, tools arranged as if waiting for hands that never returned. A schoolroom frozen in silence, a winery untouched by fire or decay, a large communal chamber still echoing with imagined voices. But there are no bones, no weapons, no evidence of struggle, just absence, a surgical removal of an entire population. Some researchers claim they left voluntarily. Some argue natural disaster forced them below. Others whisper about ancient invasions, raids, or plagues. But the documents kept under restricted archives suggest something else. Patterns in the tunnels resemble military planning, choke points, ambush corners, defensive bottlenecks that force intruders into predictable routes. This was no random shelter. It was a fortress. Yet, whoever built it took precautions against something far more persistent than human enemies. Tunnels that twist back on themselves like a maze built to confuse pursuers. Chambers with acoustics designed to amplify the quietest sound. Stone doors engineered to lock from the inside with a single person's strength. You don't build a sanctuary like this for comfort. You build it to vanish. And vanish they did. During the 1963 rediscovery, locals admitted their grandparents refused to enter the tunnels. They spoke of nights when the ground vibrated like a living creature, when air from below carried sounds that were not echoes, but warnings. Some said the ancient builders went underground to escape something above. Others believed they went below to contain something beneath. No one agreed. No one investigated further. Not until the incident of 1989, an unauthorized expedition that never released its findings publicly. Only fragments leaked, a sealed chamber deeper than any mapped level, scratch marks on the stone, not erratic, but patterned, as if dozens of hands pressed against the rock seeking escape from the inside. But again, no bodies, no remains, just the suggestion of panic frozen in time. What force empties a city of thousands without leaving a trace? And why does the air feel heavier the deeper you descend? At 2:41 hours, the team reached level 13, an area not included in public diagrams. The walls here were different, smoother, darker, as if polished by centuries of hands brushing past in fear. Their flashlights illuminated a massive vertical shaft, disappearing into absolute blackness. A rope hung from the edge, frayed, ancient, severed. Someone whispered, "This wasn't built, this was escaped from." Moments later, their radios crackled with static. Then silence, the kind that presses against your skull until your heartbeat becomes the loudest sound in the world. The lead specialist marked the wall with chalk. The chalk crumbled, absorbed by moisture. The air tasted metallic. Then they heard it. Not an echo, not a rock shift, a sound that didn't belong to stone. A breath, long, slow, as if something massive exhaled deep in the earth. The chamber's temperature dropped instantly. Every member of the team felt the instinctive pull of retreat, that ancient sensation written into human DNA. Something is here, something is awake, and suddenly, all theories collapsed into one terrifying possibility. The population of Derinkuyu didn't leave. They hid. They sealed themselves in. They abandoned the surface to avoid something that hunted in the open air, and whatever it was, they feared it enough to carve a city capable of sustaining generations. The team's lights flickered. Static swept through the radios again. Then a deeper sound rose from below the shaft, not violent, not aggressive, but mournful, a low, resonant vibration that made the dust tremble across the floor. One of the researchers stepped back, whispering, "This place wasn't abandoned. It was buried alive." By dawn, the team withdrew. The shaft was sealed, their recordings archived under restricted classification. Official statements claim the site is structurally unstable. Unofficially, those who descended refused to speak of the lowest chambers. Modern sensors picked up faint seismic pulses in the region, rhythmic, patterned, unnatural. They echo once every few days. Some believe it's simply the earth settling. Others think it's the underground city breathing, or remembering. And deep beneath the quiet towns of Cappadocia, more than 200 interconnected subterranean complexes remain sealed, untouched, unexplored, waiting, maybe for us, maybe for something else. Derinkuyu is not just a vanished city, it is a warning, evidence of a world that prepared for an enemy we no longer recognize, or no longer want to like, comment, and subscribe for more dark military archives.